Montana's tourism industry might not be seeing the complete pandemic devastation we feared in early spring. But as Dennis Bragg explains, University of Montana researchers say 2020 is still shaping up as one of the worst tourism business years in a decade.
If there was ever a year for camping in Montana, this is it. The reopening COVID Cascade at campgrounds, which started in May, hasn't slowed down, even approaching Labor Day.
They were getting crushed early on. As soon as it started opening for day use, people were flocking to them. At first, that was Montanans getting out to enjoy our nature. Then we started seeing more and more out-of-state plates that were jumping in that mix as well.
But that's one of the few bright spots. Last year, Montana's tourism industry generated $3.7 billion. This year, the quarantine hit when the state usually gets 20% of its visitors. While some sectors are recovering, the UM researchers say accommodations and set-down restaurants are still hurting.
So you might see some switching from restaurant consumption to grocery store consumption. You get your gear, your food, you go and eat at your picnic table, your camping spot, whatever that might be.
But what about all those out-of-state license plates we've talked about? Sage says the current readings don't show anything out of the ordinary, although there may be a trend through the fall.
I would anticipate, though, as we have folks around the country that are less likely to fly, their driving distance is increasing a little bit, and their willingness to drive is out there.
So what happens from here? Montana gets about 50% of its tourist traffic in the third quarter, but with August reservations off by 52% and September by 61%, there's still a lot to worry about.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a slower recovery, and it's going to be time, and it's going to be dependent upon what happens as far as our ability to get a vaccine out and getting the standards, getting this virus under control. And really what that is going to come down to, and it always comes down to, is what does our economy look like? Do people have the confidence in their jobs, their employment, to go out and do a big travel experience? You know, if our economy recovers, our tourism sector goes right with it.
In Seeley Lake, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Sage says a bright spot has been the rebound in visits at Yellowstone and Glacier, which helped to drive tourism traffic across Montana.